Please rise for the arrival of the official party and the rendering of honors. The rendering of honors includes a 19-gun salute. Please expect loud cannon fire. Military personnel, up and hunt. Now, Coast Guard Academy, arriving.
Here comes the...
Ready, go!
Now, Coast Guard arriving.
Ready, go!
Military personnel, and salute. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Homeland Security of the United States of America arriving. Ready, two. Please remain standing for our national anthem. Military personnel, and salute. Ready, two. Please remain standing. At this time, I invite Professor Glenn Freisinger to the front of the stage. As mace bearer, Professor Freisinger is among the most senior members of the faculty who personifies the ideal of learning at the Coast Guard Academy.
The 142nd commencement exercises of the United States Coast Guard Academy are now convened.
Let us pray. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. We give thanks for this day, a day some thought never would come. 4 or more years ago, divine providence brought these cadets to New London. Some of them started sooner with AIM and sea gas. Upon acceptance, many screamed, "Thank you, Lord." But after enduring swab summer and 4th class year, their prayers turned to "Help me, Lord." Well, you heard their supplications and granted their request. This is the moment they dreamed of. Thank you for bringing them through the many nights of doubt and uncertainty. Thank you for your healing power when they suffered injury. Thank you for giving them the strength to go on when they felt like giving up. And thank you to the family, faculty, staff, and leadership that pushed them to succeed. This path has not been easy, but if it were, then everyone would do it. Today shows why they were selected. They persevered and made it through, and today they shall reap the rewards of their work. They started from the bottom, and now they are here. Bless this ceremony. Let everything said and done be to your glory. And it is to you we give all honor and praise. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Platform party and presenters of commissions, please join the class of 2023 and uncover. All other military personnel in uniform, please remain covered throughout the ceremony. I now have the pleasure of introducing our 42nd Superintendent of the United States Coast Guard Academy, Rear Admiral Bill Kelly.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is great to see you all here. This is an amazing viewpoint for us looking up at you. Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Fagan, public and community leaders, distinguished alumni, military veterans, faculty, staff, coaches, family and friends, and the Corps of Cadets. Good morning and welcome to the home of the Officer Corps of the United States Coast Guard. And to the great class of 2023, good morning. Congratulations, you did it. You have navigated the 200-week journey, and you have sprinted through the tape, arriving here today, where you receive your diplomas, take the oath, and accept your commissions. Then, you will depart this institution as officers, ready in all respects to forge a courageous new path as leaders in the world's best Coast Guard. This is certainly a memorable day for our Academy, our Coast Guard, and our nation. Secretary Mayorkas, thank you so much, sir, for presiding over today's ceremony. It is an honor and a privilege to have you back on board our amazing campus, where we prepare every single officer in the United States Coast Guard. Sir, the women and men that you see here before you are ready in all respects to serve as leaders of character. They are prepared to uphold their oath and to protect and defend our great nation. And I can attest with great certainty, sir, that they are ready to serve wherever and whenever our country needs them. Thank you again for being with us today, sir. And I believe you've been at every commencement ceremony that I've been here in person. So I thank you for that as well. Parents, family, and friends who were so important to the class of 2023, we are thankful to have you with us today, both in person and those joining us online. Thank you for everything you did to support these brave young cadets through the twists and turns that we have all experienced over the past 4 years. You were with them every step of the way during a period like none other in our nation's history. I hope you take great pride in what they have accomplished. And I am confident you will look fondly on the success that is sure to come in the years ahead. And a final word of thanks from me to our faculty, coaches, and staff who prepared the class of 2023. You modeled the way, day in and day out, of what it means to be all in. You guided us all to rise together, and I thank you for your commitment to our mission and developing leaders of character. Class of 2023, would you please join me in a round of applause thanking your family, your friends, and our faculty, staff, coaches, and crew who have supported you these past 4 years. To the great class of 2023, we have challenged you to be all in. Over the course of the past 4 years, you have exhibited the ability to be all in. We began our journey together back in June of 2019, and you immediately set the tone for your class with your spirit and your enthusiasm during Swab Summer. You remained all in, even as we departed CGA to deal with the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we saw the excitement on your faces when you were excited to come back here in the summer of 2020 to return to campus and reconnect with your classes as third-class cadets. Many of you then departed CGA to fill critical positions on cutters and at stations across our service to ensure the Coast Guard was ready to meet the calls of the nation. As second class, you were all in as you prepared the class of 2025. Your inclusive spirit and commitment to your efforts as cadre ensured the class of 2025 enjoyed the highest retention of any class in the history of this great academy. Over the past year, you have led the Corps of Cadets as we fully embraced all of the things that come with a 4-year service academy experience. You were all in as you led the Corps of Cadets to so many exciting victories and experiences. From a last-second win on the soccer pitch against KP to national recognition on the mat and the tracks and the fields across this great nation. To the joy, the beauty, and the beast brought us on the stage at Leamy Hall, to the countless successes in the classrooms and labs of the Academy, some of which led to a Truman and Fulbright Scholar who we'll meet in just a little bit. Class of 2023, you were all in, and you set the tone and the example for the rest of the Corps and the Academy to follow. Our Commandant has stated that the culture of the United States Coast Guard starts right here on board this Academy. Ma'am, I couldn't agree with you more, and I am confident the graduates you see here before you are ready in all respects to be all in for our service. They are ready to contribute their spirit, their intellect, and their commitment to our core values. They have learned how to be the most inclusive class ever to graduate from CGA, and I know they are ready to lead the women and men of our great service. Class of 2023, we have invested much in your development. Your future lies ahead of you. Remain all in to do what is right, regardless of your personal sacrifice that it may entail. And if you remain all in for your people, if you care for them, if you prepare them, and if you set incredibly high expectations for them, and if you challenge them to be great and meet those expectations, then your unit, our Coast Guard, and the nation we love will be stronger for it. To the great class of 2023, as I prepare to step aside and retire next week after 40 years in uniform, I am so thankful I had the opportunity to serve with you. You are amazing, and it has been the honor and the privilege of my life to serve as your superintendent. And I hope you know that Mrs. Kelly and I will always remain all in on your success. We wish you fair winds and great fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, we truly have much to celebrate today. And on behalf of the entire Coast Guard Academy community, I thank everyone who had a part in today's ceremony. And I'd ask you to join me one last time as we wrap up and say, Semper Paratus and forever, go Bears! Of the 243 young women and men graduating with the class of 2023. 3 are international cadets who have proudly represented their nations while greatly enriching our academy and our Corps. At this time, we invite these international cadets, along with members of their national delegation, to stand when their names are called. These graduates will return to their countries and serve with distinction in their armed forces. Audience, I ask you to please hold your applause until all the names have been read. From Costa Rica, Adrian Alpizar. From the Philippines, Joshua Angelo Arbe. And from Mauritius, Godwin Piang Ni. Would you please join me in a round of applause for our international shipmates? I now have the privilege of introducing this year's distinguished graduate. The distinguished graduate is the cadet who graduates with the highest military precedence average, which includes the academic, military, and physical components of the entire 200-week program. It is with great pride that I introduce this year's distinguished graduate, First Class Christine Groves. First Class Groves hails from the great state of Texas. Her parents are Blake and Elva Groves, and she was raised with their siblings, Nolan, Valerie, and Brian. She is a mechanical engineering major. During her senior year, First Class Groves was the vice president of the Cadet Drama Club. She was also an active participant in our Windjammers program and jazz band, and the cadet musical, Beauty and the Beast, where she played Cogsworth, the Beast's major domo turned pendulum clock. She also served on the Academy's Advisory Board of Women. This advisory board identified opportunities and challenges for female cadets, including an assessment of our culture, leadership development, access to health care, and they made regular recommendations to myself and the Assistant Commandant of Human Resources at Coast Guard Headquarters to improve these matters here at the Coast Guard Academy. First Class Groves is a Truman Scholar and a Fulbright Scholar. Upon graduation, First Class Groves will complete graduate schooling at Reykjavik University in Iceland. It is my pleasure to introduce the distinguished graduate of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy class of 2023, Cadet First Class Christine Groves.
Good morning, Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Fagan, Admiral Kelly, Provost Donahue, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, family and friends, and the great class of 2023. To sum up the last 4 years, I'd like to begin with a quote. "The world is not in your books and maps. It's out there, and you'll have a tale or two of your own to tell when you come back. Can you promise that I will come back? No. And if you do, you will not be the same." This exchange between Gandalf and Bilbo marks the beginning of the adventure that Bilbo embarks on in The Hobbit. We also chose to go on our own unexpected journey when we reported in to Swab Summer almost 4 years ago, not knowing what our time here would bring. We too did not come back the same, and we each have our own unique tales to tell. Over the past 4 years, we grew into our roles as mentors, scholars, and leaders, and we will continue to do so as we embark on adventures as officers. Though we did not face trolls, wizards, or dragons like Bilbo, we overcame online classes, meals in our room, different formation times every year, and what felt like making endless circles on Eagle in the Atlantic Ocean instead of going to Iceland. Throughout these challenges, we reached out to friends and loved ones on countless video calls, virtual movie nights, and online games. There were many chances when we could have chosen to give up or quit, but we did not. As Bilbo said, "Go back? No good at all. Go sideways? Impossible. Go forward? Only thing to do. On we go. And on we went. The 200 weeks were never easy, but as we discovered are the niches where we belong, we found community. We learned new instruments, walked onto sports teams, participated in gopher nights, danced at castle dance, and in one particular case, became a magical singing candlestick in Beauty and the Beast. Through companionship, we helped each other find the strength to persevere. Even though we will be leaving some of these communities behind, I know that the families that we have formed here will stand the test of time. As Bilbo told his family, this was far too short a time to live among such excellent and admirable people. I know less than half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. But I know that I can rely on each and every one of you, no matter what we'll face on the exciting journey ahead. We have been told that the challenges, such as climate change, that we'll face in the Coast Guard will be unprecedented, and we are expected to deal with issues such as recruitment and retention shortcomings. This can be daunting at times, and we may wish that we were going into a Coast Guard with different circumstances. But as Gandalf told Frodo, that is not for us to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. We cannot change our circumstances, but we can choose what action we take and what impact we want to have. When we first arrived, Admiral Kelly challenged our class to be the most inclusive class to graduate from the academy, and that does not end with graduation. We can have a strong influence on the culture of the Coast Guard and can work towards creating a gender-equitable Coast Guard where everyone feels valued for being their authentic selves. 4 years ago, we heard Admiral Kelly's call to action and rose to the occasion as we made ourselves seen and heard consistently. Just as the Fellowship of the Ring set off to change their world, we set off to change ours. First Class Taylor Young was a founding member to the Advisory Board to Women who briefed Admiral Fagan on potential solutions to challenges that women face at the Academy. First Class Turner Linnefelter and First Class Hector Orozco Rivera developed policy recommendation memorandums to be presented at the White House at the annual Student Conference on U.S. Affairs. First Class Alyssa Parker is creating a diversity, equity, and inclusion internship at Jennifer Brown Consulting Firm in New York City. First Class Brian Morrell championed diversity as editor-in-chief of IDS, the Cadet Literary Journal. First Class Samika Lewis created the Orchestra Club, diversifying the music programs provided for cadets. First Class Godwin Pyong-ni started color ceremonies to celebrate International Cadets Independence Days. Our class helped to initiate the first celebration of International Transgender Day of Visibility and the first ever Pride Week at the Coast Guard Academy. We still have much work to do until everyone truly belongs, but we can lead the way to make the Coast Guard the first branch to recognize our genderqueer and non-binary shipmates. We have proven that we care about creating a culture of inclusivity, and we cannot lose momentum as we join the fleet. We are going from the top of the cadet chain of command to the bottom of the officer corps, but we must still make our voices heard. As proven by our shipmates and our Hobbit heroes, even the smallest person can change the course of the future. We need to continue writing memos and regulation changes and educating our shipmates to continue to bring our culture towards acceptance of every military member. I know that we can help the Coast Guard lead the way for other branches to create more inclusive uniform and grooming standards and conditions that attract and retain a diverse workforce. Like the Fellowship of the Ring on their journey together, we will face resistance, and it may be slow at times, but like the Fellowship, we will persist. However, we cannot make any changes to the Coast Guard without taking care of ourselves first. On the final steps of their journey to destroy the ring, on the slopes of Mount Doom, Frodo collapsed to the ground, unable to take another step. His companion Sam picked up Frodo, physically carrying him the last excruciating steps up the mountain to save their world. We have carried each other throughout our journey at the Academy, and will continue to support each other in the fleet. As we've been told, we must learn about our people and how to take care of them. But don't forget to learn more about yourself and ensure that you are taken care of too. We must consciously choose self-care so we are capable of helping those who need us. Self-care comes in many forms. Sometimes eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's isn't the healthiest option, but sometimes it's what's needed. I'd often grab a pint of fudge-filled fish food from the cadet store and eat it for both first and second breakfast. When we take care of ourselves and others, we have a greater capacity to enact change. Frodo and Sam changed their world for the better, and I know that we will too. Thank you to all the parents, siblings, partners, faculty, officers, and the unsung heroines and heroes who helped us make it to this day. A huge congratulations to First Class Tegan Cordova for ranking at the top of the class academically. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for your unwavering love and support, and happy birthday, Dad. Thank you to the class of 2023 for becoming my Coast Guard family, despite our differences and the challenges we faced in 4 years. This is just the beginning of our story, not the end. We will continue to support and challenge each other as we embark on the next chapter of our lives. As the fellowship was told, do not trouble your hearts over much with thought of the road tonight. Maybe the paths that we shall tread are already laid before your feet, though you do not see them. Class of 2023, home is now behind you. The world is ahead. Thank you. It is now my privilege to introduce the Commandant of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda L. Fagan.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day in New London. Secretary Mayorkas, thank you for being here. To the Academy faculty, staff, coaches, friends, family, most importantly, the class of 2023. What a great day. I can feel the excitement down here on the field, and I can't think of a better day to be welcoming new ensigns into this incredible Coast Guard. You know, I was reflecting as I got ready for being here with you all today. 38 years ago, I sat in the same seats our cadets are now sitting in. And the 4 years that the 4-year journey you are ending now at the time felt like an eternity to me, and it may have felt that way to you. However, the 38 years since have been nothing but a pleasure and a privilege, and frankly have gone by in a blink. And I hope for you the same experience and successes that I've experienced during my 38-year career in the Coast Guard. You are entering a very different organization than the one that I entered 38 years ago. We're more professional, we're in demand internationally, our leadership, professionalism, core values, the ethos that we live by are in high demand, and you will be a critical part of carrying all that forward. In just a few short weeks, the ensigns that we will commission here today will report to their new units. And you'll instantly find yourself at the center of critically important work to protect our national security and ensure our economic prosperity. You will report to cutters deployed around the world. You will work with allies and partners throughout the Indo-Pacific, the Atlantic Basin, and the Arctic to help them protect their maritime sovereignty. You'll lead boarding teams to interdict vessels smuggling tons of narcotics, denying transnational criminal organizations the illicit revenues that destabilize Western hemispheres. You'll protect the $5.4 trillion U.S. marine transportation system by inspecting ships and facilities that move 90% of our nation's import and exports. You'll break ice and maintain aids to navigation to keep American waterways open and the efficient movement of cargo. You'll keep close watch on our ports, both on the water and in cyberspace. You'll protect the marine environment by preventing and responding to oil spills, as well as investigate other environmental crimes. You'll lead our crews into demanding dangerous conditions to rescue others in peril at sea. You'll patrol our maritime borders to prevent the loss of life of those making this perilous journey. And when hurricanes strike our shore, you'll deploy from across the nation to rescue people from flooded streets and homes. You'll save lives, protect our national security, and ensure our economic prosperity. And you will be challenged in ways that you have not yet begun to imagine, but you are ready for every challenge coming your way. There's no better time than today to be joining the long blue line of Sentinels currently serving. Let me take a moment and speak to the parents and the families who are here. And thank you for all of your effort and support for the graduates that we have here on the field in front of us. So just as I sat in their seats 38 years ago, I sat in your seats 7 years ago when my youngest daughter graduated in 2016. I know firsthand the agony of the late night tearful phone calls, the uncertainty, the doubt about whether to continue or if your loved one was up to the journey in front of them. But I also know firsthand the elation of a difficult exam passed, a significant accomplishment, athletic accomplishment, and the significance of today as we commission them and welcome them as ensigns into the office corps. So today we celebrate these graduates, but we also celebrate your support, your dedication, your effort over the last 4 years. Without the friends and family, these young new ensigns would not be here. So thank you very much for all that you've done for your loved ones. I have several titles, and one of which is Commandant, and it is truly a privilege to serve in that role and lead this incredible organization. But that's not the title that's the most significant to me. The one that's the most significant to me is Coast Guard Mom. I watched with pride as my daughter graduated, and I continue to watch with pride as she serves and has grown in her Coast Guard career. I want for the young officers that are sitting here in the field in front of us, I want for them what I want for my daughter, and that is an organization where they can be valued and heard and given meaningful work in ways that, as I have told them, they have not yet begun to imagine what their futures hold. I hope you enjoy your graduates' experience as much as they will enjoy it once they enter the fleet. The best is still to come. They've joined not just the world's best Coast Guard, but the world's best military. To our soon-to-be ensigns, when you depart New London today, this will be the last time that you will all gather together as a class. And so take time today to reflect on the significance of your accomplishments over the past 4 years. You are forever forged as a class, and despite time passing, you will reconnect as if no time has passed, as you encounter each other in the fleet and during homecoming and the many, many years to come. I ask that you reflect on the duties you will assume as new Coast Guard officers. You will be leading teams of people, many of whom have more experience at this point than you do. And so my charge to you is this: commit to the endeavor. Do the hard work. Bring your best selves each and every day. Lead the sentinels of the Coast Guard workforce. Take care of them, support their families, and never forget your own humanity. Let our Coast Guard core values, honor, respect, devotion to duty, guide your actions both on and off duty. Congratulations. Your cadet time ends today, and your new journey as an officer begins. You are prepared. You are ready. Welcome to the fleet. Congratulations, the class of 2023. It is a privilege and with pride that we are joined today by the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas. I have the great privilege of serving and working with the Secretary. We could not have a better advocate or leader for the department and for the service than our current Secretary. He embodies what it means to be a servant leader, and his advocacy is tireless for not just the Coast Guard, but the entire Department of Homeland Security. I'm grateful for his service to the nation. I'm thankful for his presence here today, and it's a privilege to welcome him here to the podium. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you very much, Admiral Fagan. Admiral Kelly, thank you for your leadership of this great academy and for having me here today. So, the Academy has been rigorous. Swab for a year, 3 years without a car, and no leaving campus Monday through Thursday. 6 a.m. reveille every morning. Only a few weeks of leave during summer. Stiff academic requirements, demanding physical conditioning, and exacting military readiness. It indeed has been rigorous. But just wait. The Academy has been preparing you for what lies ahead. Every one of you is going to confront extraordinary challenges of service, and the range of those challenges is as varied as life itself. A helo rescue in extreme weather, navigating an icebreaker in the Arctic, defending the maritime transportation system against cyber attacks, stopping deadly narcotics from reaching our shores, protecting our national interests in the Indo-Pacific, inspecting vessels to protect life at sea and the maritime environment, interdicting and rescuing migrants aboard a cutter in the treacherous Atlantic, and so much more. Life as an officer is going to call upon every lesson you have learned here, every skill you have acquired, and the character you have developed. Very few individuals in their early 20s are going to confront the most consequential challenges that await you in the next 5 years of your military careers. The Academy has done more than prepare you for the work you will perform and the awesome responsibility that you will shoulder. The Academy has built you into leaders, and you will meet the moment. In a short while, you are going to throw your cadet covers high into the air. When your covers land, when those covers fall to the ground, you will begin your career as leaders, as officers of the United States Coast Guard. You will be leaders of people. Your charge will be to bring out the best in them, to inspire them, and to bring them together to work as one for the American people and our partners around the world. While there are many leaders from whom you can draw inspiration, today I ask that you carry with you the 3 leadership lessons that your beloved classmate Nathan Bavankovich wrote down before his death. 1, be a servant. In a world often riddled with selfish desires, be different. Be a person who thinks of others first, a true humanitarian and example of altruism. This is a sign of a great leader. 2, under-promise and over-deliver. Talk is cheap. Be a person of your word. Think about and weigh something before you commit, and then go above and beyond when you can. 3, deeper meaning and love can be found in a world without boxes. Boxes of race, gender, beliefs, culture, and more. There is a world without boxes in which you share a higher meaning with your community, allowing and resulting in love between even personalities and predispositions. As you engage with the people you lead, as you together confront the most difficult of challenges, keep the blessing of Nathan's memory close to you. That will help you be a great leader. You will lead more than people. You are also going to lead the United States Coast Guard, the service you have chosen. Each of you has the opportunity, in fact, the responsibility, to build a better Coast Guard for your classmates beside you, for the family behind you, for those who came before us and in whose memory we serve, and for those who will follow you. What you do and how you do it has always been a reflection of your character. Now, as commissioned officers, your actions will also reflect on the institution you lead. Always remember that. You are guardians of and can bring honor to the 232 years of history that have made our Coast Guard the proud, noble military service that it is. I have always wanted to serve. Our country has given so much to my family and me. We came here in 1960 as political refugees. America gave us refuge and opportunity. I wanted to give back, though I didn't always know how I would do so. These past 4 years, you have driven hard towards the goal that you now have achieved. In my 4 years of college, I changed my major at least 3 times, delivered pizza, worked as a messenger, and in the mailroom of an office. I went to law school unsure of what I wanted to do next. Halfway through one law school class, the associate dean warned me that if my grade didn't improve, I'd never get a job in the law. My grade did not get any better. I stand with the anchorman. Years later, I made sure to quote the dean, warning back to him as he sat in the front row during the law school's ceremony, honoring me as its alumnus of the year. No letter grade in one class was going to define my future, what I would do, and what I could become. You are now leaders of people and of the Coast Guard. You are also the leader of your own life. What type of life do you want for yourself? What do you want out of life? What meaning do you want your life to have? Think about it. It will help you act with purpose. My drive has been defined by a very clear purpose. My mother's and father's life journeys were defined by displacement. My mother was twice a refugee, first from war-torn Europe, and 19 years later with my father, my sister, and me from the communist takeover of Cuba. My mother lost most of her family to the Nazi concentration camps, and she never really regained her sense of security. In Cuba, my father lost the business he had started, as well as the chance to be by his mother's side when she passed. My parents were both extraordinary people, principled and kind beyond measure. They instilled in me the values by which they lived unflinchingly. Through whatever work I perform well, and through the impact it might have, I have sought to introduce people to my parents, people who never had the gift of knowing them. They are the primary engine of my drive, the primary reason why I work so hard, my purpose. Define your purpose and lead your life accordingly. Reach high. Your achievements will not surprise us. We know who you are and what you are capable of, and we have confidence in your leadership. 38 years ago, a graduate of the class of 1985 threw her cadet cover high in the air. Today, she participated in her first Coast Guard Academy graduation as the Commandant. Throw your cadet cover as high as you can today. Let it symbolize the future that you will lead. Congratulations.
Will the audience please be seated? On behalf of the Coast Guard Academy, thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us today and honoring the Academy and the Coast Guard with your presence. I'd now like to present the United States Coast Guard Band, conducted by Commander Adam Williamson, who will perform the Armed Forces Medley as arranged by Chief Musician Sean Nelson. All past and present members of the military are invited to stand as the band plays their respective anthem. United States Navy. The United States Air Force. The United States Space Force. The United States Coast Guard. Seats, please. Thank you, Commander Williamson, and the members of the Coast Guard Band. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Amy Donahue, Provost and Chief Academic Officer, who will present the candidates for degrees.
Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Fagan, Admiral Kelly, distinguished guests, family and friends, faculty, staff, coaches, crew, welcome. To the class of, to the great class of 2023, congratulations on arriving at this day. It's a significant one, a benchmark in your life that you and your family will recall forever as an indelible moment of triumph and promise. Today, you pause on a remarkable threshold, able to reflect on the whole of your undergraduate education and to anticipate a future full of opportunity and possibility as a Coast Guard officer. At moments like this, it is natural to look to the future. Indeed, we humans are future-oriented creatures. Most of our energy is directed at the next day, the next year, the next assignment, the next challenge. After all, we well know, and the Commandant rightly reminds us, tomorrow will look different, and we need to be ready to meet it. The trick is, we cannot see tomorrow. 5,000 years ago, the Mesopotamians had it right. We do not face the future. We face our past because that's what we can see. We succeed by backing into the future we cannot see, relying on understanding that comes from examining and using our experience. And today, as you look at your past, you can see all you have accomplished over your time at the Academy, and it's a lot. At this moment, this cusp between Academy and service, you're about to exit the land of the lasts. You've written your last papers, you've taken your last exams, until graduate school anyway. You've routed your last excusal, you've marched in your last drill, and you look good doing it. And pretty soon, you'll enter the land of firsts again. First assignment, first duty station, maybe your first apartment, maybe your first tattoo, I don't know. But there are a lot of new things ahead for you. My advice for you in this moment on the boundary between lasts and firsts is this. As you consider your life ahead, do not seek success. Success is not an objective. Do not seek happiness. Happiness is not an objective. Success and happiness are a little like stars. They're hard to see if you look directly at them. Instead, determine what is meaningful for you and devote your energy to those things. If you do, you'll find that success and happiness accrue naturally. That said, I do wish you great success and happiness, and I do believe you will discover them. They will come to you if you pour your energy into the work and the people right where you are. You all know how to do this. You've spent the past 4 years with your eyes in the boat, most of the time. That's why you succeeded so well. You and your shipmates have stayed focused in the boat. But you're about to discover that it's not that you're all in the same boat. It's that we're all in the same storm. Some in this storm can swim, some cannot. Some are treading water, some are drowning. Some are on fancy yachts, some are running drugs. Some are in disabled vessels, some in overloaded sail freighters, some in rustic rafts. And a few are in Coast Guard cutters. You are people who choose to be the ones in this world that look out for others. Your job is to be there for them in that storm. That is true at sea, and it is also true in your lives. Though you cannot see it, never doubt you are prepared for what's ahead. We are certain you have the tools and resourcefulness you need to succeed. That's what you've gained by earning this degree, and that's why we mark this moment with a ceremony. As important as this moment is for all of you, though, it is perhaps an even prouder moment for your families. You cadets are spectacular, but you didn't become so without a lot of love, support, and guidance, and the lion's share of that comes from your families. So thank all of you here today for what you've contributed to this moment. And some of your greatness did actually come from us, the faculty, staff, coaches, and crew of the Academy. Just as you make your families proud, you make us as an Academy so proud. The attainments of our students are our greatest reward. Our graduates are the emblems of our success, are products of our very best efforts. You are the proof that what we do for a living is worth it. But in the end, we don't give you this education. You have to claim it. And we don't give you this degree. You earned it. So thank you for doing what it took to arrive at this day, for all you've given and all you will give to the nation you will serve. You are a special group of people, and I am honored to be among the first to commend you on your success. Now the moment has come. This is the last time somebody is going to tell you what to do as an undergraduate cadet, and it is my great privilege to do so. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science please rise? Admiral Kelly, as Provost and Chief Academic Officer, I have the honor of presenting to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science. The fact they have been examined and approved by the faculty.
Thank you, Provost. By virtue of the authority vested in me, I now confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Science and admit you to all of its rights and privileges. Congratulations, class of 2023. Well done.
Class of 2023, you may be seated. As the United States Coast Guard Academy's 37th Common Cadets, I'm pleased to present candidates for commission as Ensign in the United States Coast Guard. Admiral Fagan, as Common Cadets, I have the honor of presenting to you the candidates for commission as Ensign in the United States Coast Guard. They have met all military requirements and have successfully demonstrated competencies as leaders of character in the Academy's 200-week leader development program. At this time, I invite you to administer the oath of office to those being commissioned in the United States Coast Guard, ma'am.
Will the cadets please rise? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Fagan. We will now present the graduating class with their diplomas and commissions. As each graduate approaches the platform today, she or he is being presented with a gift by the Coast Guard Academy Alumni Association. Presenting the class of 2003 Challenge Coin will be Captain Andrea Marcial, United States Coast Guard, retired. And the class of 2023's Link in the Chain representative, Rear Admiral Kenneth Menudo, the United States Coast Guard, retired. Coast Guard Academy class of 1973. The degrees of Bachelor of Science will be presented by the Superintendent, Rear Admiral Bill Kelly. Commissions as Ensign in the United States Coast Guard will be presented by Secretary, Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my deep personal honor to name each graduate, their academic major, and their future assignment. Since its founding in 1876, the United States Coast Guard Academy has graduated leaders of character in service to our nation. Out of respect to each graduate, please hold all sounds of acknowledgement and applause until the last graduate has crossed the stage. At that time, we'll give them the thunderous round of applause they so richly deserve. George Roy Ockling, Management Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Confidence. Niall Youssef Alami, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Seneca. Jane Abra Aladitari, Marine Environmental Sciences major, Coast Guard cutter, Campbell. Adrian Alpizar, government major, Republic of Costa Rica. Robert Stephen Altoon, cyber systems major, Coast Guard cutter, Myrtle Hazard. Javier Daniel Alvarez, naval architect, marine engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Argus. Brenda Noel Anderson, marine environmental sciences major, Coast Guard cutter, William Flores. Aiden John Arsenault, mechanical engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, William Trump. Zachary Dylan Baker, civil engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Vigilant. Lucy Lee Bashin, management major, Coast Guard cutter, Calhoun. Catherine Louise Becker, management major, Coast Guard cutter, Nathan Bruckenthal. Barrett Ann Bador, marine environmental sciences major, Coast Guard cutter, Mackinac. Nicholas Townsend Betts, electrical engineering major, basic flight school. Kurt Walter Biederman, naval architect and marine engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Campbell. Elise Kathleen Burkhauser, operations research and data analytics major, Coast Guard sector, New Orleans, Louisiana. Lindsay Grace Blake, operations research and data analytics major, Coast Guard cutter, Walnut. Tyler Nash Bland, civil engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Spar. Hannah Grace Bliss, managing major, Coast Guard cutter, Kimball. Gregory Tyler Boland, civil engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Alex Haley. Megan Deanne Bolin, operations research and data analytics major, Coast Guard cutter, Bear. James Wesley Bongard, naval architect and marine engineering major, Coast Guard cutter, Kimball. John Reagan Boran, Mechanical Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter Eggert Culberson. Brendan Patrick Bowman, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Seneca. Jenna Michelle Brandberry, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter Elm. Julie Ann Brisbane, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cyber Command. Gunner Charles Broadfear, Government Major, Basic Flight School. Rachel Michelle Bubeck, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter Oak. John Allen Bukowski, Naval Architect and Marine Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter Active. Ulissa Danielle Burns, Marine and Environmental Sciences Major, Coast Guard Cutter Roland Fritsch. Riley Nicole Burton, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Resolute. Faith Markia Butler, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter Robert Garrett. James Anthony Campbell, Electrical Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter Correction, Coast Guard Cyber Command. Justin Canobis, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter Monroe. Daniel Joseph Capolongo, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Robert Ward. Braniel Timir Carrillo Falcone, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter Bristol Bay. Anna Claire Eva Carlton, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter Humberto Hernandez. Blake Christopher Carroll, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter Venturous. Jacqueline Autumn Carter, Electrical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Steadfast. Gianna Grace Cassio, Civil Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Bernard Weber. Brian Ethan Chan, Electrical Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter Kimball. Samuel Xavier Chapman, Mechanical Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter Argus. Madeline Marie Clark, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter Kimball. Patrick Spencer Connor, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter Raymond Evans. Tegan Neely Cordova, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Isaac Mayo. Mia Jacqueline Koss, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Mohawk. Jack O'Hara Coughlin, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter Hamilton. Andrew Ruben Kruger, Marine and Environmental Sciences major, Basic Flight School. Mariah Chang Dewey, Management major, Coast Guard Cutter, Calhoun. Ethan DeGidio, Marine and Environmental Sciences major, Coast Guard Cutter, Stone. Bridget Rose Danin, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Mackinac. John Sebastian Di Tommaso, Mechanical Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Hamilton. Gabrielle Marie Dusso, Operations Research and Data Analytics major, Coast Guard Cutter, Escanaba. James Michael Duran, Marine and Environmental Sciences major, Coast Guard Cutter, Cyprus. Rebecca Lenore Emerson, Marine and Environmental Sciences major, Basic Flight School. Noah Patrick Ingstrom, Management major, Coast Guard Cutter, Richard Dixon.
I know exactly. I am. I'm excited. I am.
Banks Fitzgerald Evans, Electrical Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Richard Schneider. Kaylin Kamel Farley, Civil Engineering major, Basic Flight School. Jack Thomas Furl, Mechanical Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Stratton. Nicholas Gary Fisher, Cyber Systems major, Coast Guard Cutter, Lawrence Lawson. Isabella May Flieger, Government major, Coast Guard Cutter, Margaret Norbell. John Patrick Flood, Mechanical Engineering major, Basic Flight School. Ryan Thomas Flynn, Electrical Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Stone. Clayton Edward Forfinski, Operations Research and Data Analytics major, Basic Flight School. Evelyn Lanessa Frazier, Government major, Coast Guard Cutter, Charles Sexton. Gabriella Isabel Fraun, Management major, Coast Guard Cutter, Fur. Charlotte Lynn Fuller, Government major, Coast Guard Cutter, Campbell. Timothy Joseph Canuncio, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering major, Coast Guard Cutter, Calhoun. Thomas Hughes Edward Gill, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, dependable. June Suck Go, Electrical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Oliver Henry. Katharina Lauren De Oliveira Goncalves, Manager Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Dauntless. Sid Juliet Gonzalez, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Richard Etheridge. Megan Elise Goulded, Civil Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, William Hart. Catherine Esther Gower, Marine and Maritime Sciences Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Healy. Christine Jude Grove, Fulbright Scholar, Reykjavik University, Reykjavik, Iceland. Taylor Kincaid Gustafson, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Sycamore. Jared Cameron Hobbin, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Diligence. Finnegan Morgan Hall, Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, David Duran. Haley Elizabeth Henley, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Alert. John Lee Hansen, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Harriet Lane. Daniel Joseph Haberson, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Diligence. Connor Michael Healy, Management Major, Coast Guard Cutter, William Chadwick. Hayden Barry Noah Hendricks, Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Oliver Berry. Jose Dominic Newcomb Hernandez, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Escanaba. Roberto Andres Herrera, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Maurice Jester. And Elizabeth Hinman, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Berthoff. Charles Edward Hogue, Mechanical Engineering. Caleb Mark Holdridge, Electrical Engineering, Basic Flight School. Elsa Linnea Happenworth, Marine and Maritime Sciences Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Alder. Emma Lynn Horn, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter, John Patterson. Heather Xing-Yi Huang, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cyber Command. Robert Sean Haffenagel, Civil Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Valiant. Kirby Hugh Kwa Huynh, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Mobile Bay. Mary Ann Huynh, Marine Environmental Sciences Major, Basic Flight School. Tyler Sun Huynh, Mechanical Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Hamilton. Amy Elizabeth Jackson, Operations Research and Data Analytics Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Dauntless. Gerard Ralph Jackson, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Tampa. Chase June Jin, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Stratton. Tanner Robert Johansson, Managing Major, Basic Flight School. Margaret Sarah Johnston, Civil Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Dependable. William Martin Castrid, Naval Architect and Marine Engineer Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Ford. Lucas Patrick Kavanaugh, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Tahoma. Aiden John Kenna, Electrical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Steadfast. Thomas Andrew Kenny, Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Midget. Andrew Richard Kirst, Naval Architecture Major, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Healy. Matthew David Kickhafer, Mechanical Engineering Major, Basic Flight School. Alana Renee Kafer, Marine Environmental Sciences Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Stone. Ryan Patrick King, Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Alert. Madeline Marie Kerwin, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Berthoff. Lenora May Krajewski, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Tampa. Gage Allen Kruger, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter, James. Michelle Asaidua Quafo, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Tahoma. Ryan Kwok, Managing Major, Coast Guard Cutter, Donald Horsley. Wyatt Jack Lobby. Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Benjamin Bottoms. Brock Dominic Lagany. Mechanical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Mohawk. Derek Michael Ledford, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter Bailey Barco. Samika Deanna Lewis, Manager Major, Coast Guard Cutter Monroe. Turner William Lennefelter, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Laguerre. Francis George Linzo, Civil Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Willow. Jeffrey C. Lowe, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter Argus. Liam Charles Lowe, Government Major, Coast Guard Cutter Joseph Gearsack. Dylan Joseph Looney, Electrical Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Dauntless. Grace Olivia Luce, Manager Major, Coast Guard Cutter Vigilant. Daniel Robert Lucas, Manager Major, Coast Guard Cutter Mohawk. Tyler Chang Ma, Manager Major, Coast Guard Cutter Bertolf. Kenneth Richard Walzinski, Mechanical Engineering Major, Basic Flight School. Madison Faustino Maloney, Cyber Systems Major, Coast Guard Cutter Hollyhawk. Caden James Moreno, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Resolute. Charles Wells Mason, Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Major, Coast Guard Cutter Alert. Lauren Elizabeth.
America the Beautiful also speaks of heroes. The Oxford Dictionary defines